The voice in your head that calls you selfish, lazy, or not enough. That's not wisdom. That's the prison guard keeping you locked in your own mental hell. We all know this voice. It's the one that wakes us up at 3 a.m. with a highlight reel of our mistakes. The one that turns a simple conversation into evidence of our fundamental wrongness. The one that's been building a case against us since we were children. This lesson teaches that your inherent goodness, what it calls holiness, is literally what saves you from the hell of guilt and self-attack. It's not about becoming holy. It's about recognizing the innocence that's already there, buried under layers of self-judgment. Think about it. If the constant guilt we carry is a kind of hell, what would its opposite feel like? Not just the absence of guilt, but the presence of something else entirely. Something that's been there all along, waiting to be recognized. Your mind is like a courtroom where you're simultaneously the defendant, the prosecutor, and the judge. The prosecutor never stops presenting evidence of your guilt. The judge keeps finding you wanting, and the defendant, you, sits there taking it all in as truth. But what if the whole trial is based on a crime that never actually happened? Sarah refreshes her email and sees a message from her boss with the subject line, "We need to talk." Instantly, her stomach drops. She's convinced she's in trouble. Maybe that project wasn't good enough. Maybe she said the wrong thing in the meeting. Her mind starts building the case, evidence of her incompetence, her inevitable failure. She spends the next hour mentally rehearsing her defense, feeling sick with guilt about mistakes she hasn't even made yet. The prosecutor in her head is working overtime. We do this constantly. A friend doesn't text back immediately. We must have done something wrong. Our partner seems quiet. Clearly we're failing him somehow. We make a small mistake at work, proof that we're frauds who don't deserve success. The prosecutor presents each piece of evidence with devastating clarity, and we accept every charge. But here's what we miss. This internal prosecutor isn't interested in justice. It's not keeping us honest or helping us improve. It's keeping us locked in a prison of our own making, convinced that our fundamental nature is guilty. This voice doesn't just criticize, it weaponizes everything against us. Our kindness becomes weakness. Our mistakes become character flaws. Our human needs become evidence of selfishness. Every thought, every action, every moment of rest gets twisted into proof of our inadequacy. Sarah's email turns out to be about a routine scheduling change. But the damage is already done. She's spent an hour in mental hell, exhausted from defending herself against crimes she didn't commit. And tomorrow, when another ambiguous situation arises, the prosecutor will be ready with this new evidence. Remember how you overreacted last time. Add anxiety to your list of failings. The cruelest part, we think this voice is protecting us. We believe that without this constant self-monitoring, we'd become terrible people. As if our natural state is evil and only through relentless self-attack can we keep ourselves in line. We've confused the prison guard with a protector. But protection doesn't feel like hell. Protection doesn't leave us exhausted, ashamed, and smaller than we were before. Real protection would recognize our worth and guard it fiercely, not spend every moment trying to destroy it. Here's the insight. What if your fundamental nature isn't guilty but innocent? What if beneath all the accumulated evidence, beneath all the prosecutor's cases, there's an essential goodness that can't be touched by any of it? This isn't about positive thinking or affirmations. It's about recognizing something that's already true. Think about a newborn baby. Do we look at them and see guilt? Do we see something that needs to be constantly criticized to become acceptable? No. We see innocence, wholeness, perfect adequacy for being exactly what they are. That innocence didn't go anywhere. It just got buried under years of prosecutorial evidence. Every criticism we absorbed, every time we were told we were too much or not enough, another layer of guilt covered that original innocence. But covering something doesn't destroy it. Sarah realizes something profound. The prosecutor in her mind has never once made her a better person. It's only made her more afraid, more defensive, more likely to project her self-hatred onto others. The constant guilt hasn't improved her work, her relationships, or her life. It's only kept her trapped in an endless trial. When you stop believing the prosecutor in your head and recognize your fundamental okayness, the entire courtroom of self-judgment dissolves, and suddenly everyone else looks innocent too. This is the most unexpected part. When Sarah stops accepting the charges against herself, she notices something shifting in how she sees her boss, her colleagues, even strangers on the street. If she's not fundamentally guilty, maybe they aren't either. Maybe everyone's walking around carrying these false charges, believing these lying prosecutors, serving time for crimes that never happened. The world literally looks different. Where she used to see threats and judges, she starts seeing fellow defendants, all of us confused about why we're on trial. Her boss's terse email. Maybe he's fighting his own prosecutor. Her friend's delayed response. Perhaps she's buried under her own false charges. This shift doesn't happen through effort or trying to be a better person. It happens through recognition, through seeing clearly that the voice you've been believing is not telling the truth about you. Your holiness, your fundamental innocence, isn't something you earn. It's something you remember. Relief floods in as the courtroom finally adjourns. Not because you won the case, but because you realized there was never a valid case to begin with. Sarah finds herself moving through her day differently. When the prosecutor starts up, and it will, out of habit, she recognizes it for what it is, an old pattern running on autopilot, not the voice of truth. She doesn't have to fight it or believe it. She can simply notice it and remember, this voice has never once told her the truth about who she is. The practical shift is immediate. Without the constant drain of self-prosecution, there's energy available for actual living. Creativity returns. Genuine kindness, not the forced kind that comes from guilt, flows naturally. Relationships become less defensive, more open. This is what the lesson means when it says your holiness is your salvation. It's not about becoming holy through spiritual practice. It's about recognizing that your fundamental nature, that original innocence, saves you from the hell of endless self-attack. When you see your own innocence clearly, you can't help but recognize it everywhere, in everyone. The courtroom in your mind might have been running for decades, but it only takes a moment of clear seeing for the whole thing to start dissolving. The prosecutor can keep presenting evidence, but when you stop accepting yourself as the defendant, when you remember you were never guilty in the first place, you step out of hell and into the simple truth of your adequacy. And from that place of recognized innocence, everything begins to change. If you want to keep practicing with us, you can like the video and subscribe. Let's take a moment now to let this settle with a guided meditation. Let your body find its comfortable position. There's no perfect way to sit or lie down. Just let yourself arrive here, now. Take a breath that feels good to you, not forced, not controlled. Just a breath that your body wants to take. Notice any tension you're holding in your shoulders, your jaw, your belly. You don't need to fix anything. Just notice. Somewhere in your mind, there might be a voice commenting on how you're doing this, evaluating whether you're meditating correctly. Notice that voice. That's the prosecutor, even here. You don't need to silence it. You don't need to fight it. Just recognize it for what it is, an old habit of judgment that follows you everywhere. Beneath that voice, beneath all the mental chatter, there's something else. A quality of awareness that isn't judging anything. It's just here, noticing, accepting. This awareness doesn't think you're doing anything wrong. It doesn't have improvements to suggest. It's simply here with you, as you are. Feel what it's like to rest in that awareness for a moment. To be held by something that finds no fault in you. Your breath continues on its own. Your heart beats without your effort. Your body knows how to be here without any help from the prosecutor. If you notice the voice of judgment returning, that's okay. Let it be like clouds passing through an open sky. The sky isn't disturbed by the clouds. You are the sky, vast, open, untouched by any passing thought of guilt or wrongness. Rest here for a moment more, feeling the relief of putting down the gavel, stepping out of the defendant's chair, leaving the courtroom altogether. You are not on trial. You never were. When you're ready, let your breath deepen slightly. Feel your body where it touches the chair or floor. Carry this recognition with you, that beneath every judgment, your innocence remains untouched, waiting to be remembered. Thank you for practicing with us today. If you'd like, there's a link to a free digital copy of ACIM in the description. And if this video resonated with you, please comment. I am grateful. Thank you for spending this time with us. As you move through your day, remember, that prosecutorial voice isn't the truth about you. When you notice it starting up again, you can smile and recognize an old friend who's forgotten how to tell the truth. Be gentle with yourself as these patterns unwind. Your innocence is already here, waiting patiently to be seen.